Ken Trahan with longtime journalist John DeShazier, who's going to receive the media award from the Touchdown Club at its annual function coming up on March the 7th. John, first of all, congratulations. It's a well-deserved honor.
Thank you so much. Anything that has Bob Roesler's name on it really is a humbling thing for any journalist who's been in New Orleans. We all know Bob. We know he's a guy of integrity. We know what kind of journalist he was, and just to be associated with him even more so. I worked with him at the Times-Picayune, and I've always loved his work. I love the man who he is and who he represents, and just to be honored with an award that has his name on it. You know, if you're in this business, you hope to be half the journalist Bob Roesler was.
You spent your time in journalism for the better part of over 2 decades and left the pure journalism field to go work for the professional teams, the Saints and the Pelicans. How different has that been for you, and how has it been for you?
Oh, it's night and day. When you work for the newspaper, especially as a columnist, you're more of a critique guy than anything else. So, to be able to critique and not necessarily need anyone else's opinion because you're using your own, to go from that to working for the team, and now it's more, support of the team. So it's a totally different thing than I'm accustomed to. For a long time, I kind of used to wake up in sweats and hives because I didn't know exactly how to go about it, because you just didn't know if you could, maintain the same voice. And obviously it's not going to be the same voice when you work for the franchises, but still, it's been a pretty exciting experience. It's something I've never done before.
And of course, you work for both franchises, for the Saints and Pelicans, and you do the basketball broadcast for the most part. You find yourself at times getting ready to spew something out that might be venomous, and all of a sudden you bite your tongue?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you see a play that you don't necessarily like, or you don't think is a good play, and you have to bite your tongue a little bit because, you don't want to critique guys who you're working with, essentially, because everyone's on the same payroll. So, you got to see them again, and you want to maintain a professional and nice relationship with them. So, yeah, it's been a really big transition for me. It was something that, it took a great deal to get used to, and I'm still kind of adjusting to it because I still have those flashbacks.
And when you look at journalism today, it's changed radically, obviously, with new media. You see the lines being blurred in terms of how people cover things, and you have to remain objective. And I know, like myself, you really admire the guys that are what you would call pure journalists, and ladies for that matter, who go about their business and stay out of the fray in terms of personal feelings and expressing those, but being professional about what they do.
Well, it's so different now. Beat writers used to strictly stay with the beat, the nuts and bolts of it, and now they're more opinionated and more flavorful in what they do. So, yeah, as you mentioned, the blurred lines, the lines aren't even blurred now. They're pretty much crossed, and there is no line now, so you don't know where it begins and where it ends. So, yeah, it's a lot different than what we're accustomed to, us old timers. But it's exciting on one hand, but on the other hand, it's like, okay, maybe this guy crossed the line, because I think you have to maintain an air of professionalism when you're dealing with the team, especially if you're going to be a guy who covers the team every day, as opposed to the columnist. That kind of used to be the columnist's job, to be the heavy and to take the punches and to throw the punches, as opposed to the beat guys. And now, it's kind of a free-for-all.
Now watch this. Final question. He's going to turn journalist whether he likes it or not. Now, Pelicans make the playoffs this year or not?
Oh boy, that's gonna be that's gonna be hard. I want to believe they are. It's gonna be really difficult in the West, especially right now. We've got guys that are injured. I'm gonna say they're gonna fall short. I hate to say that. I'm gonna say they're gonna fall short by 2 or 3 games. I hope I'm wrong. I pray I'm wrong. I think they've got, especially if they can get Anthony Davis back healthy. But it's going to be a tough road.
We're right there with you. We hope they make it, but I don't think they're going to either. And last but not least, the Saints. Are they going to rebound and have a winning season and get back to the playoffs?
Well, I think so. They made some significant changes on the coaching staff. Really, you rarely see a head coach maintained and to have that kind of turnover on his staff, which means they saw some things that they didn't like. But obviously, in football, it's always the personnel. It's always the guys you put on the field. So what can they do in free agency? What can they do in the draft? They've got a good nucleus of young players. Can they get those guys to grow up? Because I think, we've heard Coach Payton mention several times a leadership void. And I think they need some of those guys to grow up and not just play better, but just be better guys in the locker room and be better teachers and leaders.
Just saved his job with that comment. Just kidding. John, thank you, my friend. It's great. Congratulations to you. Well deserved.
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it a whole lot.